So when you see this Aditya, look at those plants there. Are they following this law or abusing it? Are they, destroying these people, taking from these people because, oh, I have to protect myself and what's my own? People will use that as an excuse. Oh yeah, look for this Rishi to have bad planets in it, to be destroyed, to be in bad shape. Okay? It's such a critical thing to look and recognize that if you see this stuff messed up, people will protect themselves in ways that is not protection. They will use protection as an excuse to take, to use, to be cruel. And one of the most important things when you look at the Adityas and is their Rishi. If you're at the end of someone abusing a law, that's a horrible place to be. So if you're into the law, that someone who abuses the law of protection, where they do things that hurt you and take from you because they're just trying to protect themselves, and they'll say that, oh, I was just trying to protect myself. It's like, and you did that to me? And you behave that way towards those people? The worst things people do is they abuse the law of the Rishi. That's why the Rishi is such an important thing. If you see people abusing the law of the Rishi, you just run. Those are lawbreakers. They're breaking divine laws. There's no healthy association when people break divine laws. Okay? That's what's going to ruin their relationships with other people. Because what the divine law has the purpose of maintaining the health of human relationships. That's why we have law. Rishis, they create all these beings. Now these beings have to get along. How? Each Rishi creates a law that says this is how we're going to get along. We're going to protect what we're bearing. We're going to protect what we're responsible for. And we're not going to use protection when really we're doing it for another reason. Okay? We're going to protect when protection is required. We're not going to protect when it's not and call it protection. Okay? And people with this, bad avastas in this planet, their wounds will cause them to twist this law. And what they will do to protect will be nothing but shameful, selfish, uncaring, cruel, taking and using behavior. When they can, they'll take. And they'll say, I was just trying to protect myself. And when they can, they'll blow you off. They'll say, well, because I was scared, I was trying to protect myself. That's their excuse, No excuses. We cannot have decent relationships with people who break the laws. Okay? So it's critical always to look at, is the person breaking this law or not? And if they are, hands off. Let them break it with someone else, okay? And in your clients, when you examine them and you see the Rishi, and you see this Rishi afflicted, you just ask them, all right, what do they talk about protection? What have they said about protecting? Are they protective? How are they protective? And you'll find stories about how they're twisting this law into something that's selfish, self-serving, there to support the wounds. And that never works. That's what destroys human relationships, when people twist the law. People never don't follow the law. They either follow it or twist it. So very much look for how people are using or abusing the law. There's no escaping it. They'll be doing one of the two. Out of this law of protection comes a need for strength. We're protected when we're strong, right? Strength itself is protection. So people who have this afflicted will be compensating for strength. They'll feel scared, they'll feel weak, they'll feel small, and they'll get huge muscles. And they'll look strong. And you're like, I'm not going to mess with you. But the reality is, inside, there's no strength at all. So you'll see overcompensation when there's damages to this Aditya. Okay? The first thing to be protected is to have to appear strong. That's how sometimes people play the game. But the true way, the first way to be protected is to be strong. Okay? Strength means I have it. I have what it takes. So I have a village, and I have a good strength. I have a lot of grains, and my people are healthy and eating good. They're healthy, vital people who are going to be hard to defeat. And I have the strength of these food grains. Then, when people come to steal my food, my wealth, we could say, hey, I'm strong. I am so strong. I have extra food. And I'd be very happy to give you some. And if ever we have a problem, perhaps we can get some from you. And then people are like, really, you'll do that? It's like, yes, that's how strong I am. I'm such a badass that I have more food than we need. That's how amazingly strong we are internally. Okay? So we're going to help you. Now we've developed friendship. Now in developing friendship, we have protected ourselves. Now let's say that culture next year goes, well, geez, this is great. I'm not working anymore. We're just going to sit around and drink all summer. We're not going to even try to grow food. And in the winter, we're just going to go over there and get their food. They'll give it to us again. Then they show up, and you're like, hey, look, no, I'm not here to hand things out to you. I'm very sorry. This year, you're going to have to go hungry because you weren't responsible for yourself. You didn't protect yourself. And I won't supply to you out of a chosen weakness. And then if those people decide to be aggressive, then, okay, the law of protection is, now I shoot you. And they're going to be strong enough because they're healthy, they're fed, and it's, you know who wins a war? People who are fed win wars. Starving people don't win wars. So that's what being strong is. It means you actually have what you need to bear your burdens healthily, successfully. And that means having a surplus, having the wealth, the surplus. You're not strong if you don't have surplus. You can't bear burdens. You can't take care of others if you don't have a surplus inside of yourself. You can't take care of this if you don't have a surplus of wealth and food in your house. Okay? And that surplus comes from your strengths. When this Aditya is healthy, you have the surplus to bear those burdens. And you can extend your circle of responsibility towards who you want to bear when they're in a helpless state. If people had an early blizzard on the other side of the mountain, okay, they were in a helpless state. What could they do? You can increase your circle of what you're going to bear, and you'll bear the burdens of those people because you're strong enough. So you have to look for strength in this Aditya. Is it true strength, or is it compensated fake strength? And lots of times you'll see people will pretend to be strong, but they're not. With this Aditya, if it's afflicted, oh yeah, that strength you see, it's all fake. When it's solid and healthy, these are strong people. They have it. They have the wealth to extend their circle of responsibility, because that's their love, to bear that for the helpless. When someone's helpless, to bear that burden. That's their love. That's what makes them feel good. But when that Aditya is afflicted, there's no love of bearing there. And that love is what gets the strength. Since they don't have that love, they don't have the strength, they don't have the resources, and all they can do is act strong, be bullies, only attack to get food when there's 10 of them against one of someone else. That's afflicted when this Aditya is afflicted. So imagine these symbols, these medieval Viking type symbols I'm talking about, happening in modern, normal day-to-day life, in your relationship with someone, where they're treating you this way, pretending to be strong, pretending they got their shit together, but have no strength to take care of themselves or others, and who are always going to be a burden, and who aren't going to do what it takes to not be a burden. Instead, they're just going to take. They'll always find someone to take from. They'll always make themselves a burden upon others. Someone who takes is a burden upon others. And if people want to carry that burden, great. That's the love of this Aditya, to carry the burden of help when a person's helpless. But if a person, instead of trying to be strong and healthy and self-reliant, decides to just take and force people to carry those burdens, that's a twisted way this Aditya will work. They'll manipulate, they'll force, they'll do whatever it takes to force others to carry their weight. They'll act nice and loving, but they're just doing it so that you carry their weight. There's no real love there. Okay? And you'll see that when the love of this gets twisted, the love of bearing. Well, they're going to do what they need so that they love being born. They're going to find a way for you to bear them. And when you stop, they'll find someone else and never think about you again. All the things you did for them, killing yourself to keep them alive, and then they will go think of somebody. They will never remember your name once you crash and burn and run out of whatever strength and energy and supplies, and are simply not able to, or just wake up and go, I'm getting used here, they won't even care about you. Within 2 months, they'll have another person carrying their burden. Or maybe, finally, they'll develop self-reliancy. But usually, if this Aditya is afflicted, you know what they're going to do. They're going to find another person to bear their burdens. So, that's how we have to look at this Aditya. That's how we have to look at this, this Rishi. This is what it's representing. And it's not hard to tell if a person's living this out healthily or not. And if you see it damaged, you know they're not living out healthily. If you see it really supported, wow, this person is so capable of that. If you see it just decent but not great, good. That person's fine. If you see it really strong, the person has the strength to really have a big circle of burdens to carry it easily. Okay? They don't need to be Superman, but they cannot be someone who breaks the law. They cannot be someone who is always going to find a way to make somebody else carry their weight. Okay? Because they're not helpless. They're conniving, manipulated, etc., etc. They know that's how they're self-reliant, by getting people to carry their baggage, to carry their weight, to provide for them. So if they would spend that time developing as themselves, developing intelligence to be self-reliant, they wouldn't be burdens, and they would have meaningful, long relationships that are supportive. And that's the next Aditya, Aryam Aditya.